The Montessori Baby by Simone Davies and Junifa Uzodike is a guide for parents and caregivers who want to support babies from birth to 1 year with respect, calm, and trust in the child's natural development. The book is not about creating advanced babies or pushing milestones early. Instead, it is about understanding who a baby already is, how much they are capable of from the very beginning, and how adults can create an environment that allows the baby to grow freely, confidently, and securely. The authors combine Montessori philosophy with modern parenting realities, focusing on observation, connection, and preparation rather than control or constant intervention. At the heart of the book is the idea that babies are whole human beings from birth. They are not empty vessels waiting to be filled, nor fragile creatures who need constant entertainment or correction. Babies are actively building themselves through movement, sensory exploration, and relationships. When adults slow down, observe, and respond thoughtfully, babies develop trust in themselves and in the world around them. This trust becomes the foundation for independence, emotional regulation, and curiosity later in life. The Montessori approach for babies begins with the adult. Before thinking about toys, schedules, or activities, the caregiver is invited to reflect on their own mindset. The book emphasizes that how we see the baby shapes how we treat them. If we see babies as capable, we naturally speak to them with respect, explain what we are doing, and give them time to respond. If we see them as helpless or inconvenient, we are more likely to rush, distract, or override their signals. Montessori parenting asks adults to shift from doing things to the baby to doing things with the baby. Observation is a central practice throughout the book. Instead of assuming what a baby needs, adults are encouraged to watch carefully. Babies communicate constantly through movement, facial expressions, sounds, and changes in energy. By observing without rushing to fix or entertain, caregivers learn to recognize patterns and preferences. This leads to more attuned caregiving and fewer power struggles later on. Observation also helps adults trust the baby's natural timing. Rather than worrying about whether a baby is behind or ahead, the focus stays on supporting development as it unfolds. The book explains that the first year of life is a period of intense growth and sensitivity. Babies are especially receptive to movement, language, order, and sensory experiences. This does not mean they need stimulation at all times. In fact, overstimulation can interfere with concentration and calm. Montessori encourages simplicity, fewer toys, more space to move, and time to explore without interruption. When the environment is prepared thoughtfully, the baby does not need constant adult direction. One of the most important ideas introduced early in the book is respect. Respect shows up in small, everyday moments. It means telling the baby what you are about to do before picking them up. It means waiting a moment after speaking to allow the baby to process. It means involving the baby in care routines rather than treating them like an object being moved around. These practices build trust and cooperation over time. Even very young babies respond positively when they feel included and informed. The authors discuss how traditional baby gear, while often marketed as helpful or necessary, can limit a baby's natural development. Devices that restrain movement, such as bouncers, swings, and seats, reduce opportunities for babies to explore their bodies and surroundings. Montessori favors freedom of movement on a firm, flat surface where babies can stretch, roll, and eventually crawl at their own pace. This freedom supports not only physical development, but also confidence and problem-solving skills, too. Movement is treated as a key driver of development, not something to be rushed or taught. The book strongly discourages placing babies into positions they cannot get into themselves, such as sitting or standing, before they are ready. When babies are allowed to develop movement naturally, they build stronger coordination and body awareness. Each stage, from lying on the back to rolling, crawling, and pulling up, serves a purpose and prepares the baby for the next challenge. The environment plays a major role in supporting this movement. Montessori spaces for babies are simple, calm, and organized. Low shelves, floor beds, mirrors at floor level, and a limited number of carefully chosen objects allow babies to explore independently. The goal is not to create a perfect Instagram-worthy room, but a space that meets the baby's developmental needs. Order in the environment helps babies feel secure because they know what to expect. The book also addresses sleep from a Montessori perspective. Rather than focusing on rigid schedules or sleep training methods, the emphasis is on respecting the baby's rhythms while creating conditions that support rest. A floor bed, for example, allows babies to move freely and develop independence around sleep over time. The authors acknowledge that every family is different and encourage parents to adapt Montessori principles to their own realities rather than striving for perfection. Feeding is another area where respect and independence are emphasized. From breastfeeding or bottle feeding in infancy to the introduction of solids, the baby is seen as an active participant. Caregivers are encouraged to watch for readiness cues rather than following arbitrary timelines. When solids are introduced, babies are given opportunities to feed themselves, explore textures, and listen to their own hunger signals. Mess is viewed as part of learning, not something to be avoided. Language development is treated as something that begins at birth. Babies absorb language long before they can speak, and the quality of language they hear matters. The book encourages adults to speak clearly, honestly, and respectfully to babies, avoiding baby talk that distorts words. Naming objects, describing actions, and expressing real emotions help babies build vocabulary and understanding. Silence is valued too, as it gives babies space to process and observe. Throughout the book, caregiving routines are reframed as opportunities for connection rather than tasks to get through quickly. Diapering, bathing, and dressing are moments when the adult has the baby's full attention. By slowing down, explaining each step, and inviting cooperation, these routines become predictable and calming rather than stressful. Over time, babies learn what to expect and begin to participate more actively. The authors also address the emotional world of babies. Babies experience a wide range of feelings, and crying is a valid form of communication. Montessori does not suggest leaving babies to cry alone or suppressing emotions. Instead, caregivers are encouraged to acknowledge feelings, offer comfort, and stay present without trying to immediately distract or fix the emotion. This helps babies learn that their feelings are accepted and manageable. Another key theme in the book is trust. Trusting the baby means believing they are doing the best they can with the skills they have. Trusting yourself as a parent means letting go of constant comparison and external pressure. The Montessori approach is not about following strict rules, but about responding thoughtfully to the child in front of you. The book reassures parents that mistakes are part of learning and that repair and reflection matter more than perfection. By the end of the first part of the book's content, the reader begins to see parenting less as a series of techniques and more as a relationship. Montessori for Babies is about building a strong foundation of respect, autonomy, and connection that will support the child well beyond the first year of life. The focus remains on the present moment, on who the baby is right now, and on creating a peaceful, supportive environment where both baby and adult can thrive. As the baby grows beyond the first few weeks of life, the Montessori approach continues to focus on observation, respect, and allowing development to unfold naturally. Between roughly 3 and 9 months, babies become increasingly aware of their bodies and surroundings. Their movements become more intentional, their curiosity deepens, and their desire to interact with the environment grows stronger. The book emphasizes that this period is not about teaching skills, but about creating the right conditions so the baby can practice, repeat, and master abilities on their own. Play is described not as entertainment, but the baby's work. Through play, babies explore cause and effect, develop concentration, and learn how their bodies move in space. Montessori play is simple, purposeful, and rooted in reality. Instead of noisy, flashing toys that direct the baby's attention, the book recommends objects that respond to the baby's actions, such as grasping, shaking, or rolling. These kinds of objects allow the baby to discover rather than be entertained, which supports deeper focus and satisfaction. The authors explain that babies benefit from having fewer toys available at one time. When the environment is uncluttered, babies are more likely to engage deeply with what is in front of them. A small selection of thoughtfully chosen objects placed on a low shelf or mat invite exploration without overwhelming the senses. Rotating toys occasionally based on observation rather than a schedule keeps the environment fresh while respecting the baby's interests. Freedom of movement remains essential during this stage. As babies learn to roll, pivot, crawl, and eventually pull themselves up, they need uninterrupted time on the floor. The book strongly reinforces the idea that adults should not place babies into positions they cannot reach themselves. When babies are allowed to practice movement freely, they build coordination, balance,